Hello children, this is T. Mahalakshmi from Trinity Academy Metric Higher Secondary School. I am your social teacher. Today we are going to revise the social portions. Okay, first of all we can see the portion. In history, lesson 7, urban changes during the British period. 8th lesson, that is status of women in India through the ages. Geography, lesson 8, map reading. Civics, lesson 7, judiciary. And economics, lesson 2, public and private sector. And your map work is page number 18 and 47. Now we can see the pattern. First pattern is choose the correct answer. Second pattern, fill in the blanks. Third pattern is match the following. Fourth pattern, true or false. Fifth pattern, answer the following. Sixth pattern, answer in detail. And seventh pattern, map. First, you know that 1 marks you can read. Now we can see the answer. First, we can see history, lesson 7, urban changes during the British period. So one mark you have to read yourself. It is very easy. I'll just revise the 2 marks in detail. See the first question. Answer the following in 1 or 2 sentences. First question is, what is an urban area? What is an urban area? An urban area is one that has a high population density, engaged in occupations other than food production, living in a highly built environment. Second question, hilly areas were distinctive features of colonial urban development. Why? So there are 3 points. First point is the British, coming from a cool temperate climate, found the hill station protective from hot weather and epidemics. Second point is, so they build up the alternative capitals in cool areas. Third point, so highly hilly hills area were distinctive feature of colonial development, urban development. Third question, name the 3 presidency cities. So the answer is, in the late 18th century, Calcutta, Bombay and Madras rose as presidency cities. So 3 presidency means Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. Fourth question, state any 4 reasons for the new trend of urbanization in the 19th century. So here also there are 3 points. The causes for the new trend of urbanization in the 19th century were, that is, opening of Suez Canal, introduction of steam navigation, construction of railways, canals and harbors. And second point, that is growth of factory industries, etc. Fifth question, write short note on cantonment towns. Since the British needed strong military camps and established the cantonment towns. Second point, army people began to live in these places and gradually they were grown up into cities. That is example, Kanpur and Lahore. Sixth question, what were the regions covered in Madras presidency during British regime? So the region covered in the Madras presidency during the British regime covered were modern day Tamil Nadu, Lakshadweep Island, Northern Kerala, Rayalaseema, Coastal Andhra, District of Karnataka and various districts of Southern Odisha. Okay, now we can see the detail. So first question is, in detail, describe the colonial urban development. So how the urban during the British period, how the urban developed. So there are 4 points, that is port cities, cantonment towns, hill stations and railway towns. So in each there are 2 points. Okay, so first you have to explain port cities. So how it was, ports. And another one is cantonment town, hill station. Already we read in the second question. And last one is the railway towns. So like this, the second question is, trace the origin and growth of Madras. So how the Madras origin, how it came. So origin and growth of Madras. The beginning of the city of Madras goes back to the earliest stages of British commercial enterprise in India. The English East India Company was started in 1600. The English, after some efforts, secured the privilege of building a factory at Masulipatnam, and it was well protected from monsoon winds. The official grant for the land was given by Dharmala Venkatapati Nayak, the deputy of the Raja of Chandragiri. Dharmala gave British a piece of land between Kuam River and the Egmore. India Company's Francis Day, accompanied by the interpreter Berry Timmappa and superior Andrew Cogan. By this, Francis Day and Andrew Cogan was granted permission to establish a factory, trading post and a fort at Madras Pattanam in 1639. And this fortified settlement came to be known as the Fort St. George settlement. It is otherwise referred to as the White Town, while the nearby village inhabited by local population was called as Black Town. Collectively, the White Town and the Black Town were called Madras. Third question. India became an agricultural colony of Britain. How? So in the beginning, the policies of British proved harmful to a process of urbanization. Later, the economic policies followed by the British led to the rapid transformation of India's economy into a colonial economy and development of cities. Third point, the one-way free trade predominance of British Indian manufacturing industries were destroyed. There was a sudden collapse of the urban handicraft industry. Fifth point, towns and cities long famed for their specialized product gazed continually shrinking market. Sixth point, the manufacturing towns lost their previous importance. The Industrial Revolution, high import duties and other restrictions imposed on the import of Indian goods into Britain and Europe led to the decline of Indian industries. Thus, India became the agricultural colony of Britain. Now we can see Geography, Unit 8, Map Reading. See the answer the following. Answer the following in one or two sentences. First question is define map scale. Map scale refers to the relationship between distance on a map and the corresponding distance on the ground. Second point, the map scale is stated in words. It means 1 centimeter to 1 kilometer. Second question, what is a physical map? The map that shows the physical features of an area is usually called a physical map or a relief map. Third question, write a short note on map projection. A map projection is a way of representing the spherical earth on a flat surface of a map. A curved surface of the earth cannot be shown accurately on a map. So, cartographers use map projections while mapping the earth surface, which would help them to reduce distortion. Fourth question, name the intermediate directions. You know this one. The intermediate directions are northeast, northwest, southeast and southwest. Fifth question, what are the uses of cadastral map? Answer, cadastral maps are useful for local administration such as the city survey, taxation, management of estates and to define property in legal documents. Next, we can see the detail. Relief map and thematic map. Relief map. So you know that relief map, what is mean by relief map? You have to write what is mean by relief maps and the examples for the relief maps, that is rivers, mountains and plateaus. Thematic maps. A thematic map is a map that focuses on a specific theme or subject area. They show the subjects such as the physical phenomena like temperature variation, rainfall distribution and population density in an area. Second one is large scale map and small scale map. Large scale map. The large scale maps portray the information in detail than the small scale maps. For example, physical map of India represents a small area of the earth but gives us more information. Small scale map. Small scale maps can show only major features, omitting the minor ones due to lack of space. For example, physical map of the world will show us only the major physical features in the world. Now next one is globe and map. So first globe. Globe gives a three-dimension representation of the entire world. It is a miniature form of the earth. Map. Map gives a two-dimension representation of certain region or the entire world. It is a visual representation of an area, of an entire or a part of an area, typically represented on a flat surface. Now we can go to the paragraph, that is detailed answer. Explain the different types of scales. You know the different types of scale: verbal scale, that is a ratio scale; graphical, that is bar scale, and you have to explain 2 to 3 points in each. Okay. Next question is describe the cadastral map and its importance. First you have to tell what is meant by cadastral map and you have to give some examples, and then you can write its importance. Here they have given some importance. You have to write this importance. Third question is write a paragraph about a conventional signs and the symbols. So first you have to tell what is meant by conventional symbols, and you have civics unit 7, the judiciary. We can see the answer the following. First one, why do we need judicial system? Judiciary plays an important role as an organ of the government. It administers justice, settles disputes, interprets laws, protects fundamental rights, and acts as a guardian of the Constitution. So, we need judiciary to be efficient in order to ensure proper justice. Second question, what are the different levels of courts in India? So, the different levels of the court in India are subordinate courts, district courts, high court, and supreme courts. Third question, differentiate law and judiciary. First we can say law. It is a system of rules imposed through a government or institution to govern people. Next, judiciary. In law, the judiciary or judicial system is a system of courts which administer justice in the name of the state. Fourth question, write a note on Lok Adalat. Lok Adalat was set up to provide speedy justice. It hears and settles the disputes in the language of the people in the public presence. A Lok Adalat is presided over by a retired judge along with a lawyer and a social worker. Cases are put forward without advocates. The first Lok Adalat was held on 1982 at Junagadh of Gujarat. Fifth question, what are the advantages of mobile courts? Mobile courts will be of great relief to the rural people. It would create greater awareness about the judicial system among the rural masses, cut costs for them, and render justice at their doorstep. Now we can see the detail. So first question is write about the role of judiciary. So role of judiciary can be classified as dispute resolution. So role of judiciary can be classified as a judicial system provides a mechanism for resolving disputes between citizens and the government, two state governments, the center and the state government. So judicial review. Second one is judicial review. And third one is that uploading the law and enforcing the fundamental rights. Okay, so 3 points in that you have to write what is that. Okay, next one is differentiate civil law and criminal law. Civil law, what is meant by civil law? And you have to write the examples about the civil laws. And criminal laws, you know what is meant by criminal laws, that is theft, murder, harassment, that is known as a criminal laws. And civil laws means about the money, property and all, so you have to explain that one. Okay, third question, describe jurisdiction of Supreme Court. So what is the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court? You have to explain it. Appellate jurisdiction, advisory jurisdiction and all. Okay. Next, writs jurisdiction, court of record, special powers of the Supreme Courts. We have to explain all the things. Next we can see economics, unit 2, public and private sectors. Answer the following, that is 2 mark. Write short note on public sector. Answer, the sector which is engaged in the activities of providing government goods and services to the general public is known as public sector. The enterprises, agencies and bodies are fully owned, controlled and run by the government, whether it is central government or state government or a local government. Second question, what does the society want? The society wants rapid industrialization of the economy as the main key to economic development, improving living standards and economic sovereignty. Third questions, write the objectives of public sector. The objectives of the public sector. First one, to promote rapid economic development through creation and expansion of infrastructure, to generate financial resource for government, to promote redistribution of economic and wealth, and fourth one is to create employment opportunities. Fourth question, what are the 3 organs of public sectors? The 3 organs of the public sector are administration by the government department, the joint sector companies and the public corporation. Fifth one, name some indicators that measure socio-economic development. The socio-economic development is measured with indicators such as GDP, life expectancy, literacy and levels of employment. Sixth question, write a short note on private sector. The segment of a national economy that is owned, controlled and managed by private individuals or enterprises is known as private sector. The private sector companies are divided on the basis of sizes. They can be created in 2 ways. It means either by the formation of a new enterprise or by the privatization of any public sector enterprise. Name any 3 major private sector industries. You can write anything. Okay. So Infosys, Aditya Birla Company, Tata Group of companies. Next we can see the detail. Explain the organ of public sector. So you have to explain each and every, that is administration by a government department. You have to write 2 points for that one. The joint sector companies, public corporation and all. Okay. Next one, write briefly, explain the history of public sector. So how it formed, when it formed, you have to explain all that things. Okay. Next one, question 3, that is explain any 5 measured indicators of socio-economic development. That is, you can write any 5, that is gross domestic products, life expectancy, literacy, employment. In these headings we have to write the points. Okay. Question 4, what are the importance of public sectors? So we can write the importance of public sector, that is public sector and the capital formation, economic development. In these headings we have to write 2 or 3 points. Balanced regional development, employment generation, export, promotion and foreign exchange earnings, protection to sick industries and import substitution. Next question 5, Write the difference between public and private sector. So first you have to write about the public sectors. After that, 5 to 6 points you have to write, and in the private sector you have to write the points, what is meant by private sector, and what you can give some examples about that private sectors. Next one, sixth question is write the functions of the private sectors. So you have to write the functions, all the functions of the private sectors. Thank you children. Read well for your annual exam. Thank you.